Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And I just have to say, my hair is so crazy. It's driving me nuts today. So I don't know what the is going on with it, but it's one of many things that are bugging me right now. And I'm just kidding. No, it's not going to happen. I'm going to just leave it. But today we are bloater hunting. We have a bloater on our hands. This is a bloater. I used The Last of Us Zombies to show the worsening cases of EFOD by the letter D. This is somebody who has devoted their entire life to promoting BINGE. They are a therapist as well. So I just wanted to let you know we have another therapist on our hands. And she is heavily demonizing GLP-1. So we are going to be looking at that too. I want you guys to start seeing what's happening. So first we're going to start with something kind of dumb. So I just want to introduce her to you if you haven't seen her yet.
I just got back from grocery shopping and I was minding my own business, walking down the chip and pretzel aisle, and couldn't help but notice these two products next to each other. One is called Like Air. The other is Skinny Pop. Why would anybody want to eat something called Like Air? Air is not a food. Air is what we breathe. Actually, air doesn't taste like anything. So why would we want a food product that supposedly is like air? Air. Next to Skinny Pop. The world is shit, and this is what's happening in the grocery store. I just got back from grocery shopping.
So I just want to show the very overly emotional response to branding titles that have to do with diet culture foods, which yes, light popcorn is a diet culture food. I don't typically have it myself. I'm more of a cottage cheese girly pop. I just had cottage cheese today. I always lament it when I have it, but I do have it. It does hit. It does work. It's highly functional. I also had diet culture-y candy called Joyride because I'm in my Kesha era. No, I'm just kidding. But no, they have these watermelon slices. They're very diet culture as well. I had some of them. And I'm alive. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, Dr. Rachel. I'm here. I'm still alive. If somebody has Like Air or Skinny Pop, I'm sure that they're going to be fine. They're going to make it. It's not going to be the end. All right. I'm going to continue because I'm about to get really mean. You know, I'm just going to say it. These types of foods, they are directed more towards a vanity era. A vanity era. I had to be a little bit Britishy because I got my Britishy Georgie jacket on today, but they're more of that. You are far from that. You don't need to worry about it. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so we're going to go into GLP-1 round 1.
I saw this post on Oprah Daily that says newer evidence suggests GLP-1s may help with depression and anxiety too. Not surprisingly, I don't see any posts on there about all of the studies that show that GLP-1s actually have a negative impact on mental health. The post was accompanied by this darling image of the Ozempic injector pen, and the way the image looks, the side with the smiley face goes down as if it weighs more, but I don't think this image is meant to depict that the smiley face actually weighs more. I think the image is meant to depict that losing weight makes people smile. So almost as if it's a scale going down, and the lighter somebody gets or the lower they are on the scale, the more they're gonna smile. When I saw this headline, I was immediately curious if the researchers controlled for the impact of facing less weight stigma. Meaning if somebody loses weight and they face less weight stigma, is their mood going to improve? Nothing to do with the impact of the GLP-1s themselves, but the impact of facing less weight stigma. It's so important that We don't just attribute things to GLP-1s without considering other variables that may be having an effect. I just saw this post on Oprah.
So this is just incredibly stupid on so many different levels. It's truly incredible. I'm shocked that she's even in a position to be any kind of a professional. I would be shocked that anybody would go see her. I would never see her, ever. She seems completely mentally unstable, in my opinion, because this type of thing, it makes her feel weird. And so she's like putting that out there. It's just bizarre. Let's break it down piece by piece.
Daily that says newer evidence suggests GLP-1s may help with depression and anxiety too.
So I think there is a lot of mixed results on that. I think that there's a very complicated relationship between depression and anxiety and GLP-1 use. I think for people in general, if they were obese and they're no longer obese, they're going to have a lift. But it's not really the GLP-1 that's causing a relief. It's the fact that they're no longer obese due to physical hormone issues involved with obesity. And also things like insulin resistance, that kind of stuff has an effect. You know, if you have insulin resistance, you can have unstable energy levels in the body that can cause anxiety, for example. Anxiety can also be sublimated into depressive symptoms at times, or you can also deal with hypothyroidism, which can also make people anxious and depressed, and it's also related to having especially fatty liver, which is common in obesity, especially if somebody has the TR, the toxic ritualistic, aka a coded term for EU followed by the letter D, especially if somebody is within bingo. You're gonna have to figure that one out because I'm a little bit paranoid about YouTube. So I need you to figure out what I mean when I say bingo. So anyways, the point is somebody within that issue, they could have fatty liver because of the behaviors involved. That can cause hypothyroidism. If somebody gets on a GLP-1 and it gets rid of the fatty liver through a CalDef, then there you have it. That would be a lift. However, if somebody is deep in the TR, if somebody has deep-seated issues, if they are super morbidly obese, they likely have thyroid issues. GLP-1 use, it has a complicated relationship with thyroid health. So it can take it up a notch. It could make things worse. You could become more anxious, more depressed being on that drug. It can also have to do with being in a CalDef, especially if it's uncontrollable. That could be very anxiety inducing in somebody with severe hypothyroidism. Very depression-y as well. So for those people, they will need to have control over what's going on, and a GLP-1 would not be a good outcome for them. It would not be a good use for them because they need to be able to slow things down on a moment's notice. Lastly, I want to talk about somebody in the TR, so somebody within bingo, especially severely so. If the behaviors are halted, that can cause depression and anxiety on a psychological level and to a certain extent a physical level, as well as you have conditioned yourself to have these dopaminergic and serotonin responses to the behaviors. And so when they cease, when they are done, you will experience anhedonia, which a lot of people interpret as depression. And people can also feel anxious about not feeling things as strongly due to ceasing the behaviors. So a lot of people are unaware that they have that issue. They take this drug, they stop the behaviors, they start having these very, very intense psychological experiences and even having unaliving feelings because they're not engaging in the behaviors suddenly and there's no mental work going into that, it can be very jarring. Combining that with severe hypothyroidism, you see how there could be an issue. I will always say on this channel, I do not suggest taking those drugs if you have a TR issue, period. I don't. Not for weight. No. However, most people don't have that issue, so it doesn't apply to most. But I have to talk about it because nobody else will. But it's because within TR recovery, you often need to have control over pacing. And if you don't, that can be a huge problem. Huge. It can also be extremely triggering. You got to be careful. You got to be very careful. So that's my opinion on why there's such a complicated relationship with the drugs and depression and anxiety.
Not surprisingly, I don't see any posts on there about all of the studies that show that GLP-1s actually have a negative impact on mental health.
I've explained that.
The post was accompanied by this darling image of the Ozempic injector pen, and the way the image looks, the side with the smiley face goes down as if it weighs more, but I don't think this image is meant to depict that the smiley face actually weighs more. I think
it doesn't make any sense.
The image is meant to depict that losing weight makes people smile.
It doesn't make sense. She's having like a complete brain fog attack with this whole line of thought. It's showing that her mental capabilities are going due to her behaviors.
So almost as if it's a scale going down, and the lighter somebody gets or the lower they are on the scale.
If it's lighter, it would be going up, ma'am, not down. Doesn't make sense, but she's losing the ability to grasp physics.
The more...
I'm not even joking. I know that that's like, people would think, oh my gosh, Alex, you're being so funny. No, I'm serious. Like, I mean that. She is that mentally ill that she is not able to see physical reality anymore. She's lost touch. So this is the professional that people are going to see. Somebody who's totally out of it.
Or they're going to smile.
The brain is not working properly. She's way too deep in it. She's not able to recognize physical reality anymore.
When I saw this headline, I was immediately curious if the researchers controlled for the impact of facing less weight stigma. Meaning if somebody loses weight and they face less weight stigma, is their mood going to improve? Nothing to do with the impact of the GLP-1s themselves, but the impact.
Weight stigma is so individualized, I would highly question any studies that have to do with it because it is so dependent on the person, time, and place that I really think there's it's a very difficult task to pin it down to pure weight stigma because it is something that really doesn't apply to everybody equally. It just doesn't. Some people can get away with it more. Some people can get away with it less. Some people, they have enough of this personality to get past it. Some people don't. Some people lose weight. They never get out of weight stigma. Some people upsize. They never get out of weight stigma. It depends. It has to do with your circle, who you're around. There's a lot of people that are also nuts and nothing's ever good enough for them. So if you're around those people, you're still going to have weight stigma. There are also people who are within bingo that it doesn't matter if you're huge, they still view you as normal. So you're not getting weight stigma, right? How are you going to judge that on a population basis? It's almost impossible to actually get a real read on that.
Of facing less.
There are people who judge men more harshly. There are people who judge women more harshly. There's just so much to that. It's so individual. It's so difficult. Also, it depends on your job. I mean, there is just way too much individuality in weight stigma to actually do a study. I really don't think they can.
Weight stigma. It's so important that we don't just attribute things to GLP-1s without considering other variables that may be having an effect. I just saw this.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this one, I really just want to show you the line of thought that I believe a lot of fat activists are going to start using. And you're going to start hearing this message very, very often. I feel like she's asserting herself as a leader, as a bloater. Remember, the bloaters set the tone. She is setting her sight on GLP-1 use, and she's leading the pack to do the same. So I just want to show her talk about it so you can get used to hearing this, because you're going to hear this very often. So I'm going to just read the caption first. The recent headlines about the lawsuits against GLP-1 manufacturers are an example of exactly what I mean when I say anti-fat bias, KILLS. Pharmaceutical companies and others who profit from selling downsizing are willing to risk the lives of fat people trying to make us into thin people. There's an assumption that fat people would be better off dead than fat. It's untrue and effed up. And as long as decisions about selling downsizing are made with anti-fat bias and profits as priorities, people's lives will continue to be put in danger. So this is it is life and death if you are using this. Think of how she's framing this. This is going to kill you. They won't get it banned. Nobody cares. Okay. I told you guys 3 years. 2029. So I say by 2030, it'll be gone. So, like I said, get your off-ramp. Figure out what you're going to do in the event of that happening. Because they're not going to shut up about it. They are not. This is just starting. So let's hear it.
Heard me and many other fat activists say things like weight stigma kills, or that the weight loss industry is willing to risk the lives of fat people trying to turn us into thin people. The recent headlines about the side effects of GLP-1s that are being exposed, including blindness and death, are
blindness and Ozempic and Wegovy users reveal harrowing dark side of miracle downsizing drugs.
Exactly what I mean when I say things like that. It's not fear-mongering. It's an understanding that there is so much money in weight loss that companies will push medication onto the market without an understanding of the side effects. There's this assumption that people will be fine with the side effects, so they don't really need to disclose them when it's a weight loss drug. There's this idea that of course
they're already doing lawsuits. So this March 6, 2026, lawsuits coming in.
One would risk death and other life-altering side effects for the chance to be thin. We've seen it before. We saw it with fen-phen.
They won't get banned. She's comparing it to fen-phen.
We still see it with bariatric surgery. I think what's sad to me is how the constant manipulation by the weight loss industry and the pervasive anti-fat bias in our culture makes it so easy to forget what happened the last time there was some new miracle intervention for fatness. Each time people get equally excited, which is understandable and also sad. We have so much data to support that fat bodies will always exist and have always existed, and practically no data to support the idea that there's a sustainable way to lose weight. And if that was ever going to change, don't you think what is now $1 trillion industry would have figured it out by now? They haven't, because bodies aren't controllable like that, despite what they want us to believe. I hope that every single person and company who is willing to risk the lives
She
of
can
fat
barely
people,
breathe. Sorry, I'm really upset hearing this. She can barely breathe.
and whose medication led to the death of fat people are held accountable. You've heard.
She's incredibly anxious. She is in no position to be a mental health person. She very clearly has deep mental health issues. She can barely talk about this without having a panic attack. I can hear the anxiety in her voice. I can hear her struggling to breathe. She's not strong. She should not be talking about any of this at all. She should not be talking about this to anybody whatsoever. At all. But we're going to break it down piece by piece. I'm going to try to look at it from a zombie horde perspective, what she's telling other people in the issue, and try to translate the message, okay? You ready? Let's try.
Me and many other fat activists say things like weight stigma kills, or that the weight loss industry is willing to risk the lives of fat people.
You have to stay in the issue or you're going to die. So people that are deep in the TR believe that they must continue the behaviors or they will die. And to somebody that's never had that issue, they're like, what? That's what it's like. There's so much fear in ceasing the behavior. You feel like you will die if you don't do it. For those of you who've never had it, you need to understand, like, if you've had a massive panic attack, that feeling of that feeling, that's what's behind the behaviors, okay? The feeling of like, I can't breathe, that's what people feel when they don't give in to what they feel that they must do. So she's reinforcing the idea that if you don't do it, you will die. So the stigma gets you to want to stop the behavior. If you stop the behavior, you will die. That's what she's telling somebody. That is super reinforcing. Super reinforcing.
Trying to turn us into thin people. The recent headlines about the side effects.
You're trying to control. They're trying to control what you do. They're trying to take control away from you. They want to make fat people thin, meaning force you into something you don't want to do. So she's then hitting on that control issue. Boom! 1-2 punch. Super reinforcing to the zombies. Instant. They're all out of tension right away. Okay?
Effects of GLP-1s that are being exposed.
Side effects are there. She's showing all the issues that are caused with it,
including blindness and death, are exactly.
You're going to go blind if you take it. You're going to die if you take it. That's what she's telling you.
What I mean when I say things like that.
And the other idea that she's stating is they lie about it, just like you lie about what you do. They're lying. So they'll say it's rare, but it's not. Or you don't know if it's rare or not. It could be you. It's going to be you. It's going to be anybody you know. You see? So what did she do there? She basically equated it with the ultimate poison. So not only are you going to die because you're not engaging in the behaviors if you get on the drug, but you're also going to, it will kill you otherwise. And it will kill anybody else that's on it, which, remember, within the toxic ritualistic world, you want to control what other people do too. So with that, she's telling people, she's telling zombies to discourage anybody else from using it that you know, and to demonize the use of it to anybody that you know. Tell them now, because they're going to die if you don't tell them. That's what she did there. So she mobilized zombies with that statement.
It's not fear-mongering.
It's not fear-mongering.
It's an understanding that there is
No, it's a call to battle. That's what it is.
Much money and weight loss that companies will push medication.
So that's just her using politics or the system, blaming the system type of thing, which is very common within bingo.
Onto the market without an understanding of the side effects. There's this assumption that people will be fine with the side effects, so they don't really need to disclose them when it's a weight loss drug.
So she's stating that, once again, people lie about it. They will lie. That's also a projection, because people within the TR lie all the time. So when you're lying often, it's very easy for you to believe that other people are lying.
There's this idea that of course someone would risk death and other life-altering side effects for the chance to be thin. We've seen it before. We saw it with fentanyl.
It's true within the TR, but it's not true in the general public. So she's also comparing it. She's triggering that memory. So she's calling on anybody that's older within the TR zombie horde world, which they tend to have institutional power. They tend to be more like further along in their careers and higher up positions. So she's specifically targeting Gen X with mentioning Fen and some elder millennials. So she's calling them, you're in institutional power. You have to do something. This has happened before. Remember this? Boom. So that's massive motivation to people who tend to have institutional power. So she's calling them to fight it. This is just like that. So you have to fight it the same.
We still see it with bariatric surgery. I think what's sad to me is
the bariatric surgery piece, I think, is complicated because they tend to have a very mixed feeling about that. Because the reason why is because it's drastic enough that most people don't feel the pressure to get it done because you have an easy out. So if it's like, oh, well, that's just so drastic. It's just such a huge risk. I can't do that. And most people won't push you on it. So that's why they don't attack that one as much, although they've already demonized it to high hell. And again, the entire TR world, so people in the reductive and the other issues, they will demonize somebody who got the surgery. And also people in bingo will demonize people who got it. So there's plenty of that. Bingo try to act like the nice ones, the good cops a lot of the time. So they'll be like, I won't really judge you, but of course they do. But I would never. It's that kind of thing. So that surgery, it's distant enough. Plus, I think they like to have that idea of like, if it ever got that bad, I could do that. But if it's something more available, like a medication, then it's a huge problem. So they don't like that.
How the constant manipulation by the weight loss industry and the pervasive anti-fat bias in our culture makes it so easy to forget what happened the last time there was some new miracle intervention for fatness.
Yes, it was abuse by zombies. And then the studies came out saying it was horrible. And then it was banned, which is what I'm telling you is happening right now. And y'all don't believe me. Oh, you're crazy. Oh my gosh, that's not going to happen. That would never happen. It's literally already happened before. So I can tell you the truth. I can tell you something. And you guys will just deadpan tell me I'm wrong, even though there's a history of it. And it's currently happening in the exact same way right now. But she can just say that. The zombies will listen to her like this. Boom. It's the exact same thing. Everybody on the drug is going to die. That's what they believe. Right when she says that.
Each time.
So they fall in line immediately with a quickness and they're ready to fight it. That's basically what's happening. Boom, we're fighting it now.
People get equally excited, which is understandable and also sad.
I don't want you to feel guilty about it, but it will ultimately fail.
So much data to support that fat bodies will always exist and have always existed, and practically no data to support the idea that there's a sustainable way to lose weight.
That's false. That's a complete lie. But it is a reinforcement of don't try. Don't do it.
And if that was ever going to change, don't you think what is now $1 trillion industry would have figured it out by now?
I think that there have been so many answers to this issue of obesity, but zombies always find a way to ruin it. Again, a cow death, right? That's my best example. It's the simplest answer, but it has been so demonized, and if it could be banned, it would. They would do it, but they can't. But they do it with any diet. They'll do it with any kind of intervention whatsoever. And with drugs, it's much easier to do because you can do lawsuits, you can do all that stuff. It's easier. You can't really do lawsuits against a cow death. It doesn't work that way.
They haven't, because bodies aren't controllable like that. despite what they want us to believe. I hope that every single person and company who is willing to risk the lives of fat people and whose medication led to the death of fat people are held accountable.
So, they're out for revenge. How dare you come for this? How dare you come for our collective effort to normalize obesity, again, from people in the reductive all the way to bingo? How dare you come after what we've established? We will come after you. So that last one is a call to revenge. Super, super potent rallying cry. So again, try to translate it. That's basically what she said. The forces are being mobilized. So give them a few years, because they're not going to stop. And this is the only thing that they're really thinking about right now. It's their main focus. They blame everything on it. So, yeah, what we have to do in anti-FA is not put all of our hope in that. We need to round it out, keep things balanced, keep reminding people they can downsize without it, keep reminding people if you have downsized with it, you can keep the weight off, right? We need to start shifting our messaging about it and keep a holistic perspective. You can keep it off. You can do this. You'll be okay. Blah, 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 blah. Right? You have to start shifting that. You don't need it. You don't need it to downsize. You have to start saying that now. Because a lot of people in anti-FA, they want an easy answer. They want an easy solution. But if you buy into that, you're keeping the goal vulnerable. Because for one, it's not the solution for everybody. I told you in this video why it's not good for certain people. There's issues with it. However, that doesn't mean it's not great for the obesity crisis. A lot of people that are class 1 obese, it's great for them. It solves the issue. But that's exactly why they're going to attack it. You see? I've been very honest about these drugs. I don't want them to be banned. I support them. But I'm also realistic about it. I'm realistic about their limitations. I'm realistic about their availability down the line because of what's currently happening. There are so many issues. So what does it go back to? It goes back to a cultural shift. It goes back to all of our other goals. Just get started now. If you're in this fight, start talking about other things now. Because if and when it falls, you're going to have other talking points and other things stated. And all I can say is, as far as my channel is concerned, I have done it naturally. So it's not dependent on it. My activism is not dependent on it. But remember, if you've taken it, you can live without it. You can keep the weight off. Anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good rest of your day, night, etc. Peace.